it talks about that this would become part of Ward 2. It would become part of Ward 4.
Okay, we will note that.
Okay.
Very good. I will declare the public hearing is open and ask anybody who would like to speak for or against the annexation of these two completely surrounded islands of unincorporated area and bring those into the city of Conway. Anybody like to speak for or against that? Yes, sir. I'll ask you and anybody else who would like to speak at front of the council to identify yourself and where you live.
My name is Don Bowman, and I am the, I guess you would say, the founder of Premium Supply. And it's located at 36 Bronny Lane. I am a resident of Conway. I live on Stockton in Conway. And if anyone doesn't know where Bronny Lane is, the new hospital is being built. And right next to it, it's the street that is directly south of the new hospital. And my business is located next to I-40 and Bronny Lane. So I'm kind of in the corner there. First thing I would like to know, I haven't been shown any maps or anything like that. I did get a copy of the law that allows islands to be incorporated or annexed into the city, and I'm a little bit familiar with that. Of course, I have some questions about how far the city limit extends down I-40, because we were under the impression that it was not in the city. But I have no way of knowing that without a map or someone that can, identify where these limits exist.
It didn't the question he asked. It doesn't look like it extends too much further to the south. It probably is a little further to the south on the east side of I-40.
That's what we thought too.
Right, but it looks like it's the land behind you would probably, whoever the ownership is there.
That's Chris Thornton.
I don't think it goes too much further south than his.
I talked with Chris the other day, and he said that, of course, his primary objective is selling the vacant land. I think it's 11 acres directly behind me to my south. And his idea of getting it annexed into the city was to enhance the sales price of the land. And he said that he was never advised that it would affect other people. And if he had been so advised, that he would have reconsidered the voluntary annexation. He's not here to that, but I can get an affidavit if that would help matters. Also, the property that's directly south of us has been allowed to be filled and is significantly higher than our property, which causes a problem with our septic system. Currently, when it was put in, it never flooded, but now it does flood every time it rains, and because of the raised elevation behind us. And of course, I guess what my concern is that will city sewer be available in that area, and if so, what kind of timeline are we talking about? The letter that I got only says something about police and fire protection being extended, which is a relatively simple matter. It doesn't involve any type of extra funding that I'd be aware of, because we have county deputies that park in our parking lot and watch our building on many occasions, and a lot of our customers are deputy sheriffs, and they provide us with that minimal service. I'm not aware of who covers that part of the county. We're kind of stepchildren because The city limit runs down the center of the highway of Bronny Lane, and no one wants to cut the grass on the other person's side of the street, and so it always causes a problem. So the city stands to gain, best of my calculations, and I was a state tax auditor for 37 years, and I figured it up, and I think the city annually would gain somewhere in the neighborhood of $40,000 just on my business alone. I don't know how many other businesses are affected, but that's a significant amount of money for just driving a police car by my place and so forth. But if we could count on having other services extended, we would definitely be in favor of it. We have city water across the street. There's a fire hydrant there. Of course, there would have to be a line put under the street, and we don't know who would be responsible for paying for that. But it would be handy to have city water since we're on a well that, by the way, has a lot of iron in it, and it absolutely trashes our commodes. But electrical service, it's real funny. If you look at Bronny Lane, Conway Corp has power lines along one side, and Entergy has them along the other. And I wonder if, with this annexation, will Conway Corp take over the Entergy power lines? That's also a concern of ours. Internet service, for some reason, we can't get internet service. I know that there was talk of putting internet service to the hospital across the street from us, but I can't verify that that's been done. But I've heard a lot of people say that, it was going to be done. But trash pickup is another concern. We pay for our own trash pickup currently. But in review of the whole situation, our cost to our customers will go up at least 1.75%, which will make us less competitive, in our selling. There'll be a new city license that'll have to be purchased. Real estate taxes will definitely go up because they give us a lower rate since we're in the county. And I don't know about personal property. I'd have to look into that a little further. But I would assume it would increase too. But if all these services that I mentioned above could be extended, the letter says in a reasonable period of time. I'd like to know what that reasonable period would be. Because like most governments, reasonable to them is not very reasonable to the individual. If all that we're given is fire and police protection, considering everything that's involved, which we are already provided by the county, then I would respectfully request that you postpone the planned annexation of our land until additional services can be offered. That's all I have.
Very good. Thank you, sir. And I know we have a lady here would like to speak.
Thank you.
I'll let you speak as well. And then I'll address some of your questions, such as I can answer them. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Nancy Cogburn, and I'm on the board of the Round Mountain Cemetery on Mill Pond. And we had asked several questions and had gotten answers to them on this, but we forgot to ask, would we be required to put in a sidewalk on the frontage that runs on the street?
Not at this time.
Not this time.
If you build a building, that would trip the requirement of a sidewalk. But if you're just out there as you are, you would not trip the requirement for a sidewalk.
Okay, thank you.
Very good.
I'm Greg Bowman. I actually live Catering Ridge Road outside of Conway, but I am an owner of the business and his son. And I just want to clear up a couple things. The internet issue, We have asked AT&T for high-speed internet. Of course, you can get a cell
Dial-up,
phone,
yeah.
something that's really not economical, but we've asked for a direct service line or high-speed internet. AT&T is the only provider other than Conway Corp., and they tell us, no, Conway will be annexing you soon. We're not going to spend the money to do this. So they won't give it to us. It's right at the end of the road at 365 in Brawny. They will not run the line up. That's why we're concerned about the internet, because in this age, when we began the business, when I was 13 years old, we wrote all the invoices by hand. It was no problem. Today, the environment's a little different, and you need, right now I use a cell phone. I go through about 40 gigabytes a month on a hotspot on a cell phone to run a business. Wow. That's why we're concerned. The fire and police protection. We are not covered by the police. However, if you remember the Soul Food Cafe that used to be next door to us, when it burned, Conway's finest firemen came out there and put it out. So we already